Dave, hope all is well. I know you took a
Thank you.
couple of questions regarding Jesse Puljujarvi yesterday, but
Hmm.
just to kind of just to get an understanding of what went into the conversations over the summer and over the off season before he signed his contract, and why that was so important for his comfortability coming into training camp.
Well, I don't know. I don't know a lot of the details of where it was before, but I just look at Jesse, the tape that I'd watched of him. That I think there's a good hockey player there, and he was a young player, and probably thrown into some situations early and struggle with it, which happens with a lot of players that come in too early. So my conversations were just about how he'd gain confidence in playing over there, what he thought of coming back to the NHL, the challenges that were in place, and he talked very openly about some of the. He put it on himself that he didn't handle things very well. His expectations were higher than they probably should have been, and he's just matured he's matured as a young man and matured as a player. His English is a lot better now. He speaks very good English, but my interactions with him were just pretty honest, and he's a good player that he should be playing in our league, and we think he'd be a good fit in our team, and come back and just restart it, and we'll see where it goes. And so far, and I've only seen him for a couple of days here playing, he looks like a really good player, but he's come back, he's smiling, he looks like he enjoys the game. So hopefully it's a good fit, and he comes in and plays very well for us.
Thank you.
Next question, Reed Wilkins, 630 Chad.
John Mueller passed away. I don't know if you had any personal experience with him, but obviously a major impact on the Oilers organization and really well respected around the league at all. So just wondering if you just have any thoughts, or maybe you encountered him along the way.
That's exactly what you just said. Very well respected throughout the league. Had the pleasure of meeting him a few times along the way, and really a lot of respect. Glenn Sather was the coach of those early teams, but John was involved in a lot of them. And I know a lot of the players that played on those teams, and I know the respect that they had for John. So condolences to his family, but he was a great hockey man, very nice man to speak to, and sad to see him go.
Thank you.
Next question, Tim Campbell, NHL.com.
Hi, Dave. I'm wondering when we get going with this condensed division-only schedule. You'll have seen a bunch of Toronto, a bunch of Ottawa, a bunch of Winnipeg early, and then getting into some Calgary games. What are the potential pros and cons of higher emotion and maybe higher hatred?
Well, I think the emotion is going to be high no matter what. I mean, you call it hatred. I just call it, will to win. You're going to want to win. So it's the intensity of the games, because of the shortened schedules, because of the situation where you're playing the same team over and over again. It's more like a playoff field than it is a normal regular season. So intensity of games is going to be high because points are so valuable. So you're going to play the same teams over and over again, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be like very few times you get to play to a 56 game playoff, and that's what we're into right now. So it's going to be great hockey, a lot of fun to be involved in.
Last question, Jermaine Franklin, TSN.
Oh, no pressure there. Coach, one thing that Darnell Nurse, actually, I noticed a similarity in philosophy of answers from Nurse as well as Jones. Nurse said he wanted to make sure he wins his one-on-one battles, and Jones said that he wanted to focus on being more involved in the play. I guess what I'm asking is, how important is it with so little time for guys to focus on their strengths? And does that get stressed a little bit more to make sure that they do well what they do really well?
Well, when you talk about how to make your team better, you talk about you make individuals better, And if the individuals are maxing out, then your team becomes better. And those are things that, our players think about all the time. The coach's job is to make sure you use the player in situations where you get the maximum output of them. And players are very thoughtful now. They understand strengths, weaknesses, where they fit in the group, how they can help the group win, and they care. So Darnell Nurse is a great example. I mean, he's one of our leaders on our team. He is all in, and he wants to do whatever he can to make our team better. And if he plays the best he can play, it makes our team better. Jonesy is a young player coming in. He wants to focus on making sure that he's doing things to help the team win, because he's trying to get his NHL career up and going. So it's everybody has their own individual mandate, but usually that mandate is about playing as well as they can and helping a team win. And as a coach, you love to hear that from players, because they care, they want to do their part, and they want to make our team successful. So it's good to hear those players say those things.
Sorry, we have one more question. Mark Spector, Sportsnet. Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks, Sean. I liked Reed's volume when it was down about 0 or 1, actually, I want to say. Hey, you had a couple guys take medicals today. You got 4 guys that haven't been around. Are you in any position to predict when maybe we'll start to see some of these players get back in your practice ice?
Won't be tomorrow, but they're starting to get around. There's 3 of them around today that we're seeing doctors or they're doing the medicals. So hopefully in the next few days, but it won't be tomorrow.
And do you, I know whenever you start practice with some lines, you always say, oh, don't read too much into these lines. Is that different in a short camp, or do you have some lines you want to cycle through here?
No, you gotta try to get a little bit of continuity, and so we've thought about that. On the forwards, you're looking at different pairs. You got Draisaitl and Yamamoto, and then you got McDavid and Nuge. So you're looking at some pairs. I've put Turris and Puliarvi together. That I like that pair so far. So we'll kind of tinker here. We've got one more day of practice and then 2 full scrimmages. So you get a little bit of read on people, especially the people we don't know yet or I haven't had before. So you get a little bit of read of them, and then we've got those guys that hopefully will be back at some point. So it's I would say with the short camp, you're certainly trying to get as much knowledge as you can, and you're trying to find some continuity. But the reality is you're probably not going to know until you're a few games into the season where all the parts start to fit the best.